Yeah, I was like, all right, I was expecting Mikoto to be in there on mid. I was going to say Mikoto Ember Spirit's good. Alacrity Ember Spirit's still really good. They've got the Mirana Bane combination now, Nightmare Arrow, Chains Arrow as well. It's an option there for NGX. I'm surprised with Alacrity back. They didn't actually go for Void Spirit. I feel like every time we see NGX and they get the Spirit Predator, it almost always tends towards Void Spirit. Like they really like the tempo. Alacrity's very good at that hero, just playing it on edge. And they go for the Ember instead, which is still strong. It's still a hero he can play on edge. I'm just surprised they prioritize that over Void Spirit. So they've got strong combinations coming through. You will have to worry about the Global Silence, but you can kind of counteract that with, say, a Yule's even, just to counteracting the Ember very fast. Polaris into the Invoker. Mid matchup kind of works out. Mac should be able to hold steady. We've seen the Mac Invoker multiple times as well. It's a hero he excels on. So he should be able to hold his own against Alacrity and just keep building up farm, keep working towards, the early earn, get some early aggression out. Works well with Silencer Tusk and the ET. Once that earn is up and running, you just look for one kill, get the charges up, and go back, keep building up. Once you clear out the tower, you can be really aggressive with that Invoker. So fits Polaris' lineup. Mid matchup is not too bad. You will watch for the Mirana rotations. I think that's the big one. NGX with a Mirana can just jump in, get a good angle for the arrow, and start to pressure that Invoker early on if they want to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Last ban outs, NGX. Still just focusing on those position ones here for Polaris. Void, fair enough, I suppose. I was about to ask why you'd ban Void, but, with Invoker, makes enough sense. It does seem like a pos 3 Tusk, by the way. I mean, we were talking about it earlier, but it does seem like that's the route they're going down. Although, I suppose you could run the pos 3 Auto Titan as well. Still very effective in its own right, but I imagine it should be the 3 Tusk. Yeah. NGX, they are thinking quite heavily about this last pick. Go on, John.
I feel like when it comes down to it, I'd actually favor offlane ET over offlane Tusk in this matchup. Just because, again, I don't know how well you can hold your lane as a Tusk up against Terrorblade every time Metamorphosis is up. It feels really risky, whereas the ET is a little bit tankier. You can play with your Spirit a bit more, pressure with that damage and move speed a bit earlier on, and just kind of run over there with a Tusk 4. And that becomes a very scary combo. So you could run that. You could still go with Tusk 3 Elder Titan 4 instead, shifting the farm priority on the Tusk. That can still pay off. It's just really down to what Nico wants to play. I think we've seen him play Tusk, and I think we have seen him play ET as well. So it's very open for him to shift around his priorities there. I am keen to see what they get for Natsumi, though. Like, without the Faceless Void, you don't have the best setup for your Invoker. Cataclysm is not going to be a very easy spell to land here, unless you get a really good Shard or good Sleep from your ET. And that's a lot less stable than compared to, say, a Ravage from the offlane, a Chrono from that banned Faceless Void. So, I'm keen to see what they do get for Natsumi. NGX do ban the Bloodseeker.
Wow.
Which, again, when we see the Bloodseeker, I feel like that's actually a benefit for teams, because we haven't seen Bloodseekers really do too well, especially in Pause 1. So I think that's not going to hurt Polaris too much. And for Polaris to ban out Night Stalker and Pango. So taking out some big team fight, taking out some big control to protect their Invoker here. NGX still lacking our Mizu hero. Brewmaster's an option if they want to go in that route. It's not banned. So he could just go that route. Darkseer's there as well, as we've seen Mizu enjoy playing. And there's the Brewmaster. They bring out the special. The Mizu special. He loves that hero in the offlane. Very disruptive. And he almost always finds good timing on his Ags refresh. At some point, he is just going to be nearly unkillable with the constant primal split he'll have. And I don't think Polaris really have a good way of breaking that off. They do have Global Silence, but the Brewmaster could just go BKB and be fine from there.
It always concerns me when I see a team allow Mizu to take the Brewmaster. Like, it's just one of those heroes where you feel like you need to just respect ban it out against the man. Even if the hero just isn't in meta, he makes it look way too good. Polaris, they do go for the Natsumi Morphling, and we have seen this man perform very well in the Morphling in the past. Though I've got to say, John, it is still Morphling. It still feels very weak right now. Is there some combos I'm missing out on? I guess you've got the Elder Titan to play with, so you can get an Ags up, get that free BKB on the Morph later on if you want to go down that route. That's about all I'm seeing here. I suppose you could just argue it's a great pos 1 into TB because you go down the Ethereal Blade route, just have the shotgun up to blow up the Terrorblade. Obviously the meta, obviously very good for the Morphling as well. But, you know, every time we see TB versus Morph these days, it feels like it's not as Morphling favored as it used to be. Especially because Terrorblade is naturally going to go for an Iascati pickup. And once he gets to that point, you just don't do anything against him as a Morphling.
Yeah. He's just going to have way too many stats to really blow up or burst down ASAP. I think for Natsumi, it might be a better idea to kind of go for the right-click build and just turn into Terrorblade, grab Metamorphosis yourself. I think that's probably the best case scenario for longer fights. You also have the Ember Spirit to turn into. And we have seen that be really disruptive on Morphlings a lot, so that could be an option to go into. The Ags buildup still works with the Eldritch Titan. Free BKB is always nice if you get a good Spirit out, so there's some value there for Natsumi, but overall, I think I'm going to favor NGX's draft. They've got the Mizu Special. As you said, Mike, teams that don't ban that, I don't know, it just feels like it's such a strong year for NGX to play around. They're one of the few teams that still utilize that Brewmaster to great effect.
Yeah.
And they've got the In Your Dream special with the Terrorblade, along with the Alacrity Ember. So all the favorite picks for NGX are there, and these are strong comfort picks for that team.
I mean, I gotta agree with you. I think NGX does have the superior draft going into this game one, but let's see how it pans out. I mean, Polaris, again, they've surprised us many times over the past couple weeks, so I wouldn't be too surprised. Well, I would be quite surprised, in fact, to be surprised again by Polaris. We do get into it. NGX versus Polaris, game number 1. And John, I realize that last sentence made absolutely no sense. I appreciate you pretending like it did, though. Thank you for that, John.
It made sense to me to a certain extent.
Yeah, because we've been with each other long enough. You understand. I'm saying for the viewers, they probably just think this cast is an idiot. And you would be correct in thinking so, by the way, viewers. Don't even feel bad.
What can you do? You know, we were talking about pi r squared, Mike, and you called it the circumference. It's obviously the area. So, you know, from there, I think the viewers got a bit of a hint.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good luck's coming out.
"30 seconds to battle."
Great tips as well.
Yeah.
The good luck's coming out still. I love these early tips, you know, it's like you can't tell, are they tipping to get into your mind? Are they tipping to just be friendly? Like, you can't tell the motive, especially with the all chat. Oh, not to me asking for the trash talk to stop.
We're going to wait it out now as Polison's still moving forward with the Nightmare, but bounty out, he does manage it. Arrow not going to be on target, but it won't matter. It's a 2-for-2 trade. Nice and even between these two teams. Well, we're going back up to the top lane. Mizu, he's going to be there along with CML and, of course, Natsumi on top. And we've got Jocam, who's going to cop a bit of tag team damage here from CML. Should be okay, though. Mizu won't bother trying to turn around and deal the damage as he has a creep wave to attend to right now. Do you like this off lane here for NGX, John? Do you prefer what Polaris has got?
No, I like the Brewmaster and Mirana. It might not be an easy arrow setup kind of lane, but it is a lane that's very hard to shove out. CML can try to keep playing with a tag team, but it's not like Natsumi can easily follow through without risking his own life from the counter damage that can fly through from NGX. So I think when it boils down to it, both Mizu and Natsumi should be able to find a farm they want. Like, that's the key thing. And for Polaris, that might be all you want. You don't necessarily want to play too far forward. You do miss out on some aggression with your Tusk if you don't look for kill potential. But you build up on your Morphling. You know, you hit level 3, you be stable. You've got saving plays coming down with shards to cut off, with Snowball to save as well. You have a lot of ways of protecting your Morph, and it's all about just giving Natsumi that smooth ride up to his initial items and building off from that.
Of course, mid lane as well. Mac going to be there against the Alacrity. Mac so far having a really nice time on the Invoker. Obviously, having the Quaswex build up into the Ember is always going to be quite nice because you can purge off the Flame Guard. Alacrity, though, just going to focus on his own CS. Can be a bit of a rough lane for the Ember Spirit against this Invoker, but as long as you just secure your own CS, go back to the side camps, you should be okay.
Yeah. You're not going to be too shoved out from the Invoker here, especially since Alacrity did go for the Sleight of Fist build. So losing Flame Guard is not going to hurt as much. You're still going to have the Sleight of Fist to apply some harassment back. That does make it a bit harder to clear out the creep wave, though. So just shoving out for Alacrity is a bit more complicated, but eventually can hold his own and is doing a decent job, although Mac is leading by a slight amount. Not seeing that early rotation to deny off the first water runes though, so it's going to be relatively even on that front.
A bot lane, In Your Dream, dropping very low here on this Terrorblade. Polaris doing a good job so far of keeping In Your Dream back, and well, it is the Pos 3 Elder Titan, so you've got to be very wary as he's going to have that max Astral Spirit coming out, and obviously the amount of damage Nico's going to have is going to be quite extreme. Now, even with a support like Bane, you're not really going to be able to dominate the laning phase whatsoever, so In Your Dream definitely has some work to do on this TB, but I wholeheartedly expect him to not come out of this laning stage looking very happy.
Yeah, I mean, he's still finding some CS, but it's not as much as you'd want. Definitely lagging behind what we're seeing from Natsumi, and Nico doing a fantastic job of just making it very painful for In Your Dream every time Metamorphosis is down. That's the weak point of Terrorblade in lane. One mate is down, you don't really manage to do much. And Boomy also, with the Arcane Curse and the Last Word build-up, always has the threat of applying the silence into the Arcane Curse, getting a lot of burn damage off, and just counteracting the Terrorblade's high armor with spell damage. So there's a lot of tools here for Polaris to keep that aggression up. And Boomy even manages to get a nice creep pull back, so they're going to be able to line up to deny off the range creep and keep the lane shoved into their favor.
Back in mid, Alacrity definitely not having a very fun time right now on this Ember. Just constantly getting his mana burned here by Mac. He's just done such a great job on this Invoker of making sure this Ember does not feel comfortable as Alacrity. He's going to try and get a little bit aggressive, but even the right-click damage of Mac is proving to be very annoying right now as the Cold Snap flies in. Alacrity is just trying to rush for the Water Rune and does pick it up. Should barely be able to get away. He is forced to chains, and Mac, he's not backing off. He's going right for this. Alacrity still in trouble, now trapped in the tree line as CML's going to rotate. They'll end up finding it, so I mean, the patience is rewarded. In fact, Mac might have even another.
Ooh.
Tornado's there, the Tusk Snowball was out. Polison, he goes for the Nightmare off. Mac, he will have it taken off him by CML. Fortunately, he has no mana or spells to throw out, but you already found the primary candidate there in the Ember.
Yeah, it's such an impactful kill for Mac and holding his own on the laning. Alacrity just not having as good of a time. I think for him, it's really important that the supports come in for the Water Runes a lot more. And every single time Mac manages to just top himself up with a heal, it's enough for him to stay in lane and play his game. So not much room to wiggle there for the Ember as Mac still keeps building up.
In Your Dream, though, in the meantime, ends up going down bot lane as Boomy able to pick up the kill on the Silencer. So we talked about this bot lane just a second ago, but Nico and Boomy proving to be very, very effective at making sure In Your Dream just can't approach the creep wave. And well, every time he does, you're going to experience that kind of treatment here from Polaris. It's In Your Dream. Gonna make his way back over, immediately just pops the meta and tries to go after Boomy, and he might actually have this kill. Fairy Fire, no, one more hit will do it. In Your Dream does get some revenge on his way back, but I suppose in a lane like this, you just need every bit of gold you can get right now. In Your Dream just has to take every opportunity he has, and he does at least get a silencer kill for his trouble.
Trying to compensate him for that early death, but the lane is still really tough for In Your Dream. Still lagging behind in CS. Polaris getting everything they want from this off lane and their safe lane in comparison. Like, Natsumi's just not zoned out at all. Like, we talked about it early on, but the Brewmaster will be able to find his own farm and never slow down Morphling. So that is an issue, as Mizu's also lagging behind in levels with all the noise coming through from Natsumi. So you want to hit that 6th spike on your Brewmaster to have some presence. It's going to be up at a relatively good point, but not as quick as you want, and that will kind of impact this early to mid game here for the side of NGX.
Mac is doing so much damage here to Alacrity, and this is going to really hurt NGX, right? Because considering how bad of a bot lane they've had already, you do expect Alacrity to be kind of playmaking for the team on December, and with a bad start like this, he's going to have to relegate himself into the jungle for a while as well, I think. He is going for the standard treads into the Yule Scepter build, but it's just a very rough time right now. It's top lane, CML. He's going to get spotted out, choke cam. You try to juke out on the tree line, but there's not really too much he could have done. JoeCam just going for a nice easy pick off there onto the Tusk. 2-2 now. Very slight net worth lead for Polaris. I suppose still a very even game. How's Natsumi doing? He's having a pretty free time. I mean, it's not completely free, but 37-8. You've got to be happy right now if you're Natsumi.
Still way better than the Terrorblade. I think that's all that matters here. Morphling still having a bit of a better time compared to the TV, but Inner Dream's already in the jungle and being much more efficient there.
Yeah.
Catcher farm is building up. They do manage to find that kill onto Paulson, left alone at the bot lane as well. The Bane just can't do much solo. He can try to soak EXP up, but Nico's damage is through the roof. Level 6 now, going for 2-3-1 build, skipping the ult. And his right clicks just do a ton of damage. He has a phase boost.
Oh, JoeCam with the arrow just lands on Natsumi and he secures the kill. Natsumi, he was too Agimorph. In the meantime, CML does end up dropping thanks to Mizu's Primal Split, and I suppose this is one way you can kind of save the game here as NGX. You might be having a rough mid and safe lane, but Mizu on this Brewmaster is having a very good time, so maybe he can be the playmaker. It's now mid lane. They are going to go for a full-scale fight. Nico is right on top of In Your Dream. They've almost secured the kill, and they eventually get him. So In Your Dream does not have Sunder leveled up yet. And in fact, they even found Alacrity. No mana left, but oh, the stop was going to make it in time. He'll be forced to cancel. Remnant back towards the mid lane, but now Mac chase, but won't be able to go too much further. Still, I suppose getting In Your Dream is more than good enough.
Yeah, it evens out that loss of Natsumi, so you're keeping both pause ones down, but they're still keeping that Russian mid. Alacrity.
Snowball, oh, it's going to land perfectly. Remnant is there in time, though. Alacrity is going to be able to escape right into the Ancients, but he will survive. Oh, I'll tell you, JoeCam was about to get a lecture for that one, John. And Alacrity died there. That is so lucky. I could have sworn the Sleight of Fist was still on cooldown.
Yeah, right on edge. He was one hit away from just melting to an Ancient randomly. That would have caused some confusion for Polaris, but they do save the day. NGX keeping the game even, 4-4, 1k lead away, but look at In Your Dream, he's just pressured in jungle.
This is not good. This is not good whatsoever for In Your Dream, as he has all his mana taken away.
Oh,
He just can't do anything. I mean, there's no real point in even going Sunder. You're never going to have the mana right now, as at least they might be able to punish Mac. He's going to Ghost Walk, and they don't really have the dust. They'll place a sentry, but that's not really going to help their cause, as now Mac is going to rush forward. Has the Cold Snap available, Alacrity going to try and scare them back, but it's not going to be good enough. Paulson, he will be another death for NGX. And Polaris, they'll just keep going, trying to find more now, but Tornado's off the mark. Still a very close game, but you look at all the gold on NGX, it's basically just on Mizu. So you're kind of hoping Mizu's just going to carry you through this one.
yeah. And look at these massive stacks they're clearing out with Mac and Boomy now. Like a quad stack, a triple stack coming through here for Mac. Lots of EXP coming out from Boomy. He's got the level to go global silence, so they've got even more impact in these team fights. And they're just building up. They are going for the TP play. They see Mizu alone here.
Yeah, Tornado EMP is going to land Mizu. No, he's got no mana left. No mana whatsoever. Mac has been so effective thus far on this Invoker. Already involved in 5 kills. In the meantime, down a bot lane, they do at least find that Pos 3 Order Titan, so Nico is going to drop here for NGX. It'll be a bit of a direct trade between these two teams. So now Boomy got spotted by Paulson, but he's going to be able to back off to safety. And NGX slowly starting to fight back.
And they find the stacks. So JoeCam gets to interrupt a couple, but here comes Mac.
Yeah, and Natsumi. That'll be JoeCam getting cleaned up. In fact, Arrow does at least land onto the silencer. So JoeCam gets a bit of a let on his way out, but Paulson is going to go down anyway. So they get a silencer, but you lost both supports. In fact, now Alacrity's trying to bully Natsumi out of this bot lane, but he really can't do much about the Morphling.
No. Still fairly healthy. Natsumi's got maxed out attribute shift, so he should be able to just shift around to sprint for HQ just fine. And Polaris somehow defend their stacks. If they go in, they're clearing it out now. They get max value from that built up. Alacrity still maintaining some presence there, but has to be a bit careful. He did shift out from the Yules, opting for the Maelstrom, realizing he's probably going to need some damage in these fights. And that does mean if he doesn't somehow dodge the Global Silence, he is going to be a bit of a sitting duck. So I think that's something Alacrities has to be really cautious about. The control from Polaris is there for the Ember. And without any sort of self-dispel, Alacrity is going to be in a lot of trouble if he does get caught out.
Absolutely. Mid lane. What they got there? Oh, Nico barely going to avoid the arrow flying in. As looks like we are losing a silencer in the meantime, but mid lane, CML, he snowballed in. This could be a real problem now. CML, not going to be fine. Alacrity does eventually pick him up with the sleight of fist, and even gets the chains off now onto Nico, and that'll be another great pick-off if they can get it, but Nico is not going to make it out. Alacrity playing on the edge with that sleight of fist does secure another. And these kills are just so important. And in fact, they found the Fiend's Grip. Paulison sneaking in with the Moonlight Shadow does get another. A triple kill out for Alacrity. And again, considering how bad of a lane he had, the fact that he's top the net worth board now in December, that's going to be a good feeling for NGX.
It's a great feeling for NGX. Not only is the aggression flowing in for Alacrity, he's starting to make his plays happen, but In Your Dream is given a ton of space to keep farming up. You know, he's got free reign on the top jungle, no one's contesting him. He is allowed to kind of play catch up, and Natsumi only has a marginal lead right now in terms of net worth over the Terrorblade. He has a 200 gold lead on the Morphling. Terrorblade's still going to be able to farm that back up relatively quick. And Polaris has to be a bit cautious. Global Silence down for a minute. They need that spell to kind of break off some of the initiation, break off the grip, and Boomy?
Yep, arrows flying in. Be another silencer kill, I think. Taking a bit of time. Starfall comes in. Boomy's still alive, and no, he's going to make it. Back now, Mac has rotated, so Jocam's going to drop. Mizu, he's around the area. They've got the Spirit Vessel up. Natsumi needs to be very cautious now. Mizu is more than happy to keep forcing the fight. Looks like they will get a decent pick up there onto the Tusk. And GX, they're trying to pressure that mid-tier one in the meantime.
Yeah, it's a great trade. Support for a support. And they are applying that pressure and still also protecting their Terrorblade up top because all of the action happens far enough away from In Your Dream that his free farm is building up. That lead Natsumi had, it's gone. In Your Dream is now number 2 in net worth. Barely there, but he's getting more space than the Morphling is. And Alacrity also managing to catch up, number 1 now, going back for the Yules for that self-dispel. So he's going to have a way of dealing with that Global Silence, dealing with the control and the disruptiveness of the Invoker as well. Still a bit of a smoke here from Polaris, so CML, that might catch Alacrity out. But it's a tough target to go for.
Remember, being caught out here, Global Silence going to be committed with the Walrus Punch out. They will get Alacrity. Pretty massive pick up there from Polaris. And they do have to commit the Global Silence for that, but no worries here as they'll be happy. In the meantime, that mid lane is being forced in by NGX. Mizu and Paulson will just get to work. And it seems like Polaris have just kind of accepted that this mid-tier one is going to drop. And they won't bother trying to defend.
Yeah, I think they just need to go for the trade and to get what they can. Keep building up a Natsumi. The teamfight potential from NGX when that Global Silence is down is pretty big. And they've got the split going to be up in 40 seconds once more. That's going to be even more control coming out from Mizu. And with a mid-tier 1 taken, NGX, they don't mind losing that bot tier 1. They can take over the top jungle, keep planting obs wards, keep planting sentries to secure this area for In Your Dream, who again has been uncontested for the past few minutes.
Mid lane, Alacrity going to find out Mac, but won't have enough damage to quite finish him off. Being said, Paulison is trying to rotate, maybe get a Fiend's Grip off. In fact, Mac, he's still around. Paulison, he might commit, but just can't quite get the range. Look for Boomy, but it's going to be okay. In fact, in the backside, Dokkan gets spotted out on that Mirana, and CML is going to go forward now. Trying to pick up that Mirana kill, but the Moonlight Shadow is there in the Nightmare. Going to buy more time. He's not down yet. Fiend's Grip out. They've got Natsumi, but no, it's cancelled. Natsumi, though, is still in big trouble. He'll try and fight this one by himself. Sleight of fist out. He has a waveform soon, but no mana to throw it out, so he is probably just dead here. Snowball is going to buy a bit more time, but he does get taken down by Paulison on the Bane. The CML is still in a bit of an awkward spot here on this Tusk. It does get taken out, and eventually Polaris, they are slowly just falling apart. As NGX are beginning to take over this game number 1.
We just keep building up in the win conditions. Nico is still trying to go though, but doesn't mean we have the backup here. In your dream, Metamorphosis is still up for a bit longer.
Yeah, they're going to try and Mac is going in your dream. Oh, he's going to drop. They should be able to at least find these two. Though I say that Alacrity's completely out of mana and can't really play right now. In fact, Nico, he's just cleaning up. Big problems now for NGX as it just turns right back the way of Polaris. Boomy still trying on a Mizu. JoeCam now comes in with the Starfall, but doesn't have the damage output. Sunstrike's there. JoeCam, he'll jump right through. And so Polaris, it was a rough team fight, but they came back and got in your dream and Alacrity. So, you know, rough
Big
or not,
kills.
they do get some big kills going.
And they're not done. Like the side of NGX, they still play in this area.
Yeah, EMP Tornado out. Collison, Nightmare is there. They might try to turn again, but Mizu just doesn't have the primal split right now. He'll try to get on towards Nico and does get him. At least the Thunderclap does land just within range. And Polaris, well, I mean, it's something, right? Like, you still got in your dream and Alacrity. I think overall you're still pretty happy with that fight. But it's not over, because Mac's now in trouble. Perhaps. No, it looks like he's fine.
They're just so back and forth, these two teams. That is still a big win for Polaris. I think putting In Your Dream back to the lower parts of the network board is still good news for them to keep building up. You know, Natsumi's back to number 1. His Yasha's up. He's going for the Manta style next. So going for that right-click build, sort of morphling, protecting himself from the control. And that should pay off. And that is something that we have seen a bit of back and forth on. Interesting use of the pause. As Natsumi paused, then Mizu immediately says he's going for the toilet. So he's using the opposing team to kind of use the toilet break. And they are changing net. So they're changing their network on Polaris. They've got a backup network. Great to hear. That is the mass disconnect. They should be fine. Hopefully, no bugs occur with rejoining the game.
Hopefully not, Jonathan. We'll see. So the state of the game right now, and there's a 1k net worth lead here for NGX, but it's anyone's game. We've kind of said that over and over again. At least Dota Plus also agrees. 52% for NGX, 48% the way of Polaris. Very, very close indeed. And NGX, you've still got that Terrorblade, but in your dream, he is lacking a lot of farm at the moment. Mind you, we are 18.5 minutes in, so I guess we're not too far into this game, but still just a couple hundred gold behind Natsumi. Speaking of Natsumi, not bothering to try for the shotgun, but rather just maybe going for a Manta, it looks like. Be able to purge off all the disables that just keep flying in.
Yeah, just looking for that right-click build on a morph. So maybe some emphasis on turning into Terrorblade, using the Manta illusions yourself once you pop Metamorphosis, and just going to town. It's a really strong way to play for morphling into TB. That is one way to kind of keep your damage scaling in play. I think the more impressive thing is that Boomy somehow has 16 stacks of int already. You know, we don't normally see silencers get that much int early on, especially in the sport, but the aggression from Polaris has managed to line up. They have managed to build up a good amount on Boomy. Not enough to really drop anyone to 13 mana, but the potential is there for scaling now for Boomy.
We're only just really waiting on Mac now. This connection's not lasting too long. NGX. You are approaching that Aghanim Scepter timing for Mizu, and that's definitely going to be a bit of a scary timing for Polaris, having to deal with 2 splits throughout a team fight. We've seen every time Mizu does get involved with these fights, they do tend to go pretty down south for Polaris. The hero they don't want to see if they can avoid it. It goes back to the draft, right? Like you've almost got to respect this man's Brewmaster. It's caused a lot of headache for your team if you don't. I suppose he's a very versatile offlane, though. It's kind of hard to ban out every hero he plays very well. Looks like we do have the go-ahead, though.
back to it. I think
Dire's
for
bottom
NGX,
tower
it's
is
not
under
just that
attack.
timing on Mizu. I mean, the Ags is going to be up.
Prize is mine.
But again, the fact that your Terrorblade hasn't really dropped off too much is still really good news into the Scotty next. So the presence of In Your Dream in this fight is just going to build up. And it's the one thing with In Your Dream. You give him space, he'll really
Dire are
use it to the
scanning.
best effect. And he has been given a good amount of space. Maybe just playing a bit too greedy in that triangle fight on Dire's side. But just goes back to work right after, keeping that build up. And once you do hit that Scotty timing, you mentioned it in draft, Mike, the Morphling won't have a fun time against that. It becomes harder to shift around your stats. You could kind of compensate with a Satanic for lifesteal, but it's not playing to your attribute shift anymore. And oh, Nico looks to be safe.
Yeah. Arrow just going to land on CML just to make sure they can't catch up and punish. Mizu about 300 gold away from having the Aghanim Scepter up. Teams again just going to respect each other, sit back, relax. Go too far. Though I say that, Mizu is still approaching aggressively, but I doubt he wants to play without the Ags. In the meantime, bot lane, there was an attempt at Alacrity's life, but he's going to remnant back towards his team, and now the teams are split, so Polaris, bit of an awkward scenario, and that's a very awkward pause as well. That's some bad timing for sure.
Yeah. Looks like we're having Discord issues, apparently. A lot of waits and back and forths, and Alacrity's like, gee, okay, bro. Tip out from IYD. There was some banter there earlier. I think it was Boomy saying, IYD, you know, Alacrity, IYD's, you know, switching you around again. Alacrity was just like, ha 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 ha. Because he's in, he's out, he's back in. It's one of those things. This is still a very active period in the roster shuffle, right? So people are still jumping around, waiting to settle in until certain announcements are made. Just the nature of things after TI, Mike.
Absolutely. See how long this Discord issue does take. Not very long, apparently. The go-ahead is there. Looks like a very bad team fight, though, for the Dire. I mean, you're at least losing CML, it looks like. And Nico, he's going to try and fight. In fact, the TPs are coming in with the Global Silencer. Actually found Alacrity. They just completely bursted him down. There goes CML on the Tusk. Mizu, he has plopped the split. Who are we aiming, though? Yeah, it looks like GXR now are the ones in trouble, but they found Mac with the Fiend's Grip. That'll be your Invoker gone, as Nico now also gets caught out. He's got that BKB up with the Axe, but it may not matter against the Terrorblade. Eventually, with the Spirit Vessel and Cinder Brew, he will pop. Of course, on the other side, Boomy trying to run. Natsumi also getting caught out. And it's about to be a full team wipe as Boomy, he might make it. They might just dive him, and they will. Reflection's there. In fact, now Mizu's having problems.
Interesting. Wonder
What's
what
the
sort
brew
of
bug?
bug is popping out there. I have no clue. Hopefully it's a in-game bug, not an actual bug emergency as we've seen in different series before. There's certain roaches creeping up. Those Southeast Asian roaches, Mike.
Yeah.
Don't want to deal with them. They
Very
fly
aggressive.
around. They fly to your face. Yeah.
Yeah. Very aggressive, I hear. Well, Mizu will be back. Hopefully the bug is fixed. Of course, Boomy should just be dead here. I think we were already talking about this, but he's reflected right now, and there's not really much of a way out for him. Unless the uphill hits miss, but not all of them. In your dream, we'll be able to finish off the kill, and I suppose as NGX now, you are looking towards that top tier 2 tower. Should be fairly easy pickings, but they are still quite a distance away with the creep wave. Meta might wear off inside. Yeah, never mind. They're not going for that tier 2 top tower. They'll probably just leave it be.
Yeah, just keep farming up in your dream. You hit the Ags timing now on Mizu, so he's got an additional charge of a Primal Split
Dire's top
ready to
tower
go.
is under
So they
attack.
could actually look to re-engage. They're not going to have the damage output from In Your Dream, but the control alone from Mizu might be enough, as they maintain that presence of top. It's only Boomy TPing up to defend. There's a bit of a wraparound from Polaris in the rear end, though, with Mac and CML, so they could get some good catch here.
There is a Primal Split, though. He's got 2 in fact in just a moment. Mizu though is still going to get jumped up. Cold Snap is there. Maybe he doesn't have the time. They stomp him, but no, he gets the Primal Split just in the nick of time. They will just try to rush the Storm Panda. They'll get one. Mizu. Looks like he has been left behind, but it won't matter. He's still able to get himself out. They are unable to lock down the rest of the Brewlings. He's fine. In fact, he's got another split up in 15.
It's just that spike for the Brewmaster. You can't fully commit onto him.
They might turn. Just trying Alacrity, just playing games here with the side of Polaris. Natsumi. Gonna be okay. They got the tornado off. He'll use up through the snowball. CML though still looking for the Warrior's Punch. Does get it in the end. Can they burst him down? No. Remnants there, and now the Fiend's Grip. But the Global Silence is gonna save the life of Natsumi, as they will eventually punish Mizu. Still anyone's game here, even with a 6k net worth advantage the way of NGX. Now the Silencer. Get chained up, Boomy. Gonna be alright. Oh, he is gonna be okay. Just with 50 HP. I suppose in the meantime, while all this is happening, IYD, he's just hitting creeps. He got the Skadi up, so scary times coming now for Polaris.
It's going to be tougher for Natsumi to maintain some front presence here with a healing reduction come through from Scotty and the slow. Your Dream has a lot of stats now, not going to be easy to burst down. He's got a 2k gold advantage over the Morphling. Really good stuff for IYD. Polaris, and they've still got good fight potential. I think their next major spike is actually riding on Boomy. If he does get this Ags build up, you're going to have the AoE last word. That silence can be painful. Unfortunately, the real power spike for the silencer at level 25 is still a mile away. So you're not going to see the last word muting anytime soon. But the potential will be there for Boomy with the Ags, at least. If the game goes long enough, you will see that last word mute riding along there.
He's caught out, chains are there, they've got the Invoker. NGX, nice pick up for themselves as Boomy now. He's going to show up but can't really do too much on the Silencer. In fact, Roshan's going to get started, so NGX, they take the advantage without the Invoker around, plus you do have buyback available if you are Mac, but I think Polaris, they might realize they are kind of feeling a little bit weak right now to try and contest this Roshan. Meta's popped as well, so In Your Dream fully committing now. You've got your Invoker back in 15, but it seems like the Dire, they've kind of accepted defeat in the fact that they're not going to contest this Roshan play. They'll just let it drop. I mean, you've still got Nico hunting with the Astral Spirit, but all he can do is get vision. They can't really contest.
No, they don't have that presence in team fights, and you can see NGX already playing outside the pit, just ensuring that In Your Dream is not going to really be chased down. The Sunstrike's there, that's just going to help In Your Dream as well, and they cut off the team fight already.
Yeah, Arrow, Spirit Vessel, Cinderbrew, all enough to just kill off Nico to boot. In Your Dream, he was playing very cautiously there, just not sure if anyone from Polaris was around, but he was completely on his own. Of course, now, Aegis up, you just want to go after that tier 2 top tower, take the Dire outpost, and just control the map. Force Polaris into the triangle. Don't allow them to feel comfortable across this map whatsoever. You look at Natsumi's farm, I mean, he's going for the shotgun now, but he could burst down a support. I don't know about In Your Dream anymore.
Yeah, you still get some value from the disarm, I suppose, from the Ghost Factor, although the CML.
Yep, he caught out again. A lot of damage there with that Spirit Vessel and the Cinderbrew. In fact, he might slowly just tick out. He's forced the Snowball to survive. Trying to fist Alacrity. He's going to connect it just fine. Not much CML could have done to survive through all that. It's now Polaris. Well, they're just going to try and hold this tier 2 mid tower, but you wonder how long they can hold. I mean, I suppose luckily for them, Metamorphosis is not available right now. So NGX won't fully commit, but they are certainly looking to see if they can pick somebody off. And in fact, they chain up Natsumi. The arrow's going to connect. He was Agimorphing as well. This could be a problem. He's gone. Natsumi, he'll manta off. He'll be okay for now. Misu, he's going to be the one to drop. I thought they would have fully committed.
Yeah, They couldn't make it in time. They had enough burn damage to handle the Morphling, but looked like a bit of hesitation to go for that split early on from Mizu, and they miss out on kill opportunity. Polaris do get called on to their tier 2 mid, but I think you're still kind of alright with that for NGX. I think your Dream still farming up, and
Oh, they're going to find another nice Bane pickup here onto Polaris, and though I say that, they are going to lose CML in response. Onto In Your Dream they go, but he has the Aegis and the meta available. They won't go too much further. They'll accept the kills they get here for Polaris. And I believe the shotgun is now on the way for Natsumi. So you might want to go for a surprise reveal with that item. Again, I think he is going to be quite limited into who he can really burst down here. But I suppose it's better than nothing right now for the die.
yeah, gives him some frontal burst. As you mentioned, Mike, probably just supports you can melt. There is some value in sort of disarming In Your Dream. He has not gone for his own Manta. He will have a BKB up soon, though. So that burst potential onto the Terror Blades just disappearing more and more. And there's also the Nightmare save with the invulnerability from Paulson. So if you don't catch the Bane out, if he is close enough to your target, he could still go for the Nightmare play and kind of cover whoever does get caught out. It's a difficult game for Natsumi to leverage that blade.
Might get blown up, and oh no, Snowball! He had the Lotus Orb up, so he's going to be able to survive a little bit longer. Primal Split, no, the Nightmare! Oh, the Nightmare, no! Paulson! Oh, I guess, what are you going to do? He had to try. Nico now, the rush forward without the Brewmaster, but
Dire's middle tower is under
it won't matter. You're still worried about that In Your Dream Terror Blade with that Metamorphosis going. Certainly a very scary time to try and force a fight. You're going to feel bad right now if you're Paulson as well. I mean, that Nightmare, you know, it's... Obviously, he's just going for the save, but I believe the Primal Split would have made it in time. Still, Bean's Grip is out. They've got Mac on the Invoker. Problem is, you don't have anyone hitting Mac. There we go. They show up, but it's all too late. Bit of coordination issues perhaps here from NGX's. Just seems like they're not quite on the same page.
Yeah, not able to jump on 2 openings in a row now, missing out on Natsumi earlier, missing out on Mac now. And that Ag's time we talked about for Boomy, it's up! So the AoE last words there, that sounds can catch them off guard if they're not careful with the last word. And now I think the priority might be just rush Boomy to 25. So give him every single buff, try to keep him alive in fights. Just rush that talent spike, Mike. Get that last word mutes to have an AoE Doom on hand with his hero.
Yeah. GX. Wait out that Aegis expiry. Still 10k net worth advantage, so they're still well and truly in the lead here. Polaris not out of it yet either. They have to wait for that perfect team fight for themselves to really be able to commit. You've got the meta back up now and In Your Dream. It's another concerning sign, as it looks like they are ready with these 2 Primal Split charges to maybe try and force high ground, even without the Aegis up. In fact, never mind the high ground. They're going into the triangle, find a couple pickoffs first, and then go from there. So they are going to find Boomy on that silencer. He should just be gone here. No running away from that Terror Blade. In fact, in the backside, Natsumi also was caught out, but the Global Silence makes it out in time to cancel the Fiend's Grip. So can he get himself back to the base? They are still scouting him out. Moonlight Shadow's there. They are really committing all the way for this. Is the arrow not going to land? Mizu, he's going to prop the Primal Split. They've got Mac and a Nightmare. They might be able to commit now. But no, not quite. The Stomp does hold them back from Nico.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
In the end, it's still very messy, but they found CML. He does have buyback. But another Nightmare now onto Mac. Joe Cam, though, doesn't have the arrow to set up, but it won't matter too much as Mac, he gets 4-star forward. He's in trouble now. Into the arms of In Your Dream, but they jump in. Deafening Blast, it's not going to matter. They get another. Mac, no buyback this time around to try and help out his team defend. It's NGX. Are they going to commit for high ground? It seems like they are still very hesitant. He's back now, Alacrity. He's going to land a nice arrow there with Joe Cam, but they are not making the jump in. They are still very cautious here. You do see Joe Cam just getting blown up. And yeah, they're backing. NGX, they do not want a part of this high ground.
Yeah, playing it safe. They did not have too much time left in Metamorphosis, and In Your Dream just knowingly backs off earlier on. Polaris still looking for a bit of a chase still, but it's a bit tricky to catch out the Ember at this point. Alacrity just very slippery with the Octarine 4 up. It has lower cooldowns, especially in that Sleight of Fist, to dodge through a lot of those spells. So you're at a good point still for NGX. 12k lead on their side, 30-22. Haven't been able to take care of any high ground objective, which is a bit of a worrying sign, but Polaris are playing well in that regard. Natsumi's just finding the backline he needs to get the numbers advantage going for themselves. He's going to have a BKB up now on the Morphling as well. So Natsumi's going to be a bit more protected from the combinations. Only needs to worry about the grip, but as you mentioned earlier on, Mike, Polaris is just relying on Boomy to kind of cancel that off. So they're holding Global Silence for when they see the Fiend's Grip up, and when they see it committed, they just commit their own ults to save. So a lot of back and forth spell use there that NGX is going to have to be on top of. They will look to stay as a group, keep playing the jungle. They've got good wards in this area. They've got outpost control coming up as well. And Roshan is only a minute and a half away. So once Rosh is up, NGX can look to secure that objective and then make that play onto high ground.
Alacrity getting close to that Aghanim Scepter now. Massive power spike to the Ember once you have that up. Daedalus there for In Your Dream to boot, so plenty of damage to come onto the Terrorblade. There's that double damage. Roshan, though, is still a minute away, but they'll have time to use that DD rune. In fact, they'll have time right now to use it for this team fight. Pulse is going to break the smoke, though. Do they want to commit here? NGX, they're backing off for now, but CML, he's gone way too deep. Paulison, he's still alive, but not for long. The Earth Splitter is going to be there to take him down as CML. He'll go down second. Nico, he's been caught out. You can't fight into a TB with DD. It's just way too much damage. 3 down already. Because they are committing buybacks, but they're not going to matter as Natsumi is the 4th to go down. Boomy's been chased as well. None of them have buybacks available right now. So at least Boomy does, but an ultra kill is there for Alacrity. The last piece of the puzzle is going to be that Nico dieback. They won't be able to hold him down, but they can just go after the barracks instead. That's even better. They should be able to get at least 2 out of this, unless NGX are going to pack, but I mean, it's a 5v2, there's just no reason.
They're just going to keep that shove in. Respawns are short, but it does feel like they've rode through the worst of the brunt of that fight. No Metamorphosis up means the damage output of In Your Dream isn't that great, but he's got the Daedalus, he's got great stats, he doesn't need to worry about that as they'll just rip through the first set of objectives.
Nico, Fiend's Grip out, they've got him. That'll be another death here for the older Titan, and or Boomy. He did fight back to try and help defend, but that'll be another dieback here for Polaris. They've only got CML and Mac now. Mac, he has buyback, but it's not looking great. Again, 2v5, even without the meta, just very hard to expect them to try and defend this.
Top tower has fallen.
Onto the second barracks they go. Izu, she's going to be okay for now. In fact, the Lotus Orb going to save. It's now Alacrity back in after Natsumi. Natsumi, he's going to try and man-fight this one out, but it's not looking great for him. NGX, well, I've seen enough. They'll get the 2 racks as they wanted. They'll come back for the bottom racks later on. Of course, there is a Roshan to play for, so there's no need for them to overly risk their lives when they've got a free Aegis and Shards in the way.
Just going to go for its safe play. and be able to rip through Roshan, and this should allow them to take the next fight with the Aegis and with Metamorphosis up. And Dream's going to be protected as they go into the high ground, has his full SNY up as well for more stat resistant damage coming through. Wonder who they give the shard to. Feels like he could maybe afford to give it out to In Your Dream for that Demon Zeal. He does pick it up for now, so we'll see if he does commit. Yeah, he holds on to it, so he's going to take it for himself. TP's all the way bot, maybe looking to shove in that bot lane to open up the tier 2 push. Polaris do smoke up. This is a risky push, but if they catch NGX without their TP, this might be manageable.
Here we go, Sleight of Fist gonna give all the vision in the world. NGX, they don't seem to want a part of this fight yet. But BKBs are expended, and now you might want to just turn around as the Fiends grip. They've got Natsumi. You can't forget about that guy. Global Silence is there, though. Boomy going to cancel it off immediately, but Mizu, he's still going. Primal Split available. They'll pop it. CML, he's going to drop, but now they can just go for more. Onto Boomy they go. That'll be a Silencer gone, and now Natsumi just takes an arrow right to the backside. And there's not really much of a way out for him. Another death the way of Natsumi as they will just go for the tier 4s now, but the GG's been called. NGX, yeah, it was a bit of a messy game 1, but they managed to pull it off in the end at 38 minutes in. Polaris, they were off to a great start, but weren't able to really put the lid on this game 1.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like Polaris' draft was a bit slower from our eyes when the drafting phase ended, but they still managed to get that early start going for themselves. The issue was towards the late game, like they didn't stop In Your Dream from farming. Kind of the same issues we saw from the last series with Jackie getting free farm. In Your Dream's the same kind of player. Kami-sama just builds up farm. He will always deliver the goods when it comes down to it. Not only that, but Mizu had a lot of room to just pick the Brewmaster, right? Like you mentioned it early on, Mike, but it does feel like when you're playing against NGX and if the Brewmaster's available for a last pick, you got to ban it out because Mizu always performs from the hero, always manages to hit his Ag's timing, and it's so hard to play against that disruption. Like, there's so many spells he has on hand from the split. He always micros it perfectly. He just isolates the heroes they need to kind of clean up. So I think for Polaris, they're going to have to get back, maybe look to shape up the draft a bit more. Natsumi did a good job on Morphling, but his itemization just didn't work out. He went for E-Blade. He could only really burst down Jokam. Everyone else was pretty safe at that point.
All right, well, with that, we are going to head to a short break, and right after that break, we'll be back with Game 2 between, of course, the side of NGX and Polaris. We'll see you then.